as your underlying energy. And yeah, you know, tens, completions of cycles, we know all that. But have a look at this guy. He's carrying this burden. So there's a lot on you, right? And this might be, you know, you're overburdened with commitments, responsibilities. This can apply to anything. If it's a relationship, it's become a burden. It might be that you're left holding the baby, the other person's gallivanting around and you're having to do everything. In work, in business, it's a huge weight on you. You know, apply the energies as need be. But the kind of base energy of this card is one that says, hey, you're carrying a burden now. I'm going to say this. And people don't like this, and this is when they start arguing. And he is willingly carrying that burden. He's willingly carrying that burden. Now, he might not have an option. You know, he might turn around and say, what choice do I have? These are all the ones that I have. I can't just leave them here. I have to get them home. Yes, he might have to get them home. But he could do something else with them. He doesn't have to carry them the way he is. He could split them into two. He could have 5 under one arm, 5 under the other. It might be, he could at least see where he's going, right? Right now, he's kind of bent over trying to get them home. When we get to the 10 of Wands, sometimes it can be, you know, we started off that cycle with the Ace of Wands, enthusiastic, passionate, inspired. We're going to make the most out of this. And it kind of feels like it's the end of the project, or it's at that place where you've lost that whole kind of excitement or passion for whatever you're doing has gone. And it's just a weight. It's just a burden. But, Virgo, there's a sense of you coming out swinging in this. Why do I say that? Because we have the 7 of Wands coming up at the heart of your reading. 7 of Wands is where you stand your ground. No more, not taking this shit anymore. And I think I said this last time for you guys. I don't know if you guys got this, but I've said this before. My Virgo sister, she always sees this as Gandalf, you know, you will not pass. That's the kind of energy of this, that no more, not taking this, you're not getting past this, you're not having what's mine. Yes, it's defensive energy. And yes, it can feel like stuff's coming at us from every angle. But you kind of take a stand against whatever it is that's coming up. You're just done. There's very much an energy of, I'm done with this. I'm not putting up with this crap anymore. Now, I kind of get the sense that, have a look, we have the sun coming up as a past energy, right? And the sun is, whatever it is, it kind of, when I was saying about the Ace of Wands here, that you started this so enthusiastic, so passionate, so I'm going to do this, I'm going to achieve this. You saw the potential clearly. You saw the potential clearly. And you're Virgo. You know, if you saw the potential, you saw it. Because you're very discerning. You see all the details of this. And you saw a way forward. But it's not going to plan, is it, Virgo? And I kind of feel like it's because you're taking on more than your fair share. That's what I'm getting here. Whatever's at the heart of the reading, that's what the focus is on. That's what everything revolves around. And it's not about just being good old Virgo shouldering the burden. This is about taking a stand. What is it that you want out of this situation? This is that warrior spirit card. I always see that with the 7 of Wands. Where, yeah, you know, stuff might be coming at us, but we're going to take a stand. And this guy, he always has the higher ground. So there's nothing to show that you won't succeed at this. Now, the other thing I want to say to you is, whenever the sun and the star show up in a spread together, for me, that is about a rising star. That's the spotlight, and that's your star is rising, right? That's what this can be. So it almost feels as if this might be the week. If you've been working hard at something, I don't know, you make videos, you write a blog, even in your job, you've been working really hard for a promotion or trying to get through something, whatever it is. It kind of feels like this is the week where you're noticed. You're recognized for what it is that you've been doing. Like I said, your star is rising here. So that's a kind of side message that kind of comes through. Whenever I see these two together, I like to add that here. But this feels like enough is enough. That's what this week is. Enough is enough. Now, that can go a couple of ways. Sometimes when we kind of lose our shit like that, we can, you know, it's Wands. When you're tired, when you're exhausted, when you've been doing all of this, any kind of anything from anyone, like, you know, a perceived criticism or whatever, it can be the straw that, you know, breaks the camel's back. That's the last thing that you need. And it's like you can come out swinging. But for others of you, it's going to be taking a very decisive stand. I'm not doing this anymore. You need to take your fair share of this, whatever, delegate the responsibilities. But those kind of themes come out when I see the 10 of Wands and the 7 of Wands. Now, we do have the star coming up in the present, and this is the hope that comes from a new beginning. Yes, that cycle completed. It's time to put this down. Whether that's getting other people to help you, whatever it is. But with the star coming up here, the most important part of the star is that, first of all, there are so many stars in the night sky. You pick the star that's yours. That's your wish. That's your dream. When we are in this kind of defensive energy, when we are carrying all of this, it can be very difficult to see the path where he literally can't see what's ahead of him, to see a path forward, let alone come up with something new, right? It can be very difficult, but it feels like this week you do. Now, from that new beginning, that's where the hope is restored, that I can go in a different direction. Or, the star is also a helping hand, which I think a lot of you would not scoff at right now, carrying all of this. You have kind of double Aquarius energy coming in here. So some of you might be dealing with Aquarius or an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, right? But it doesn't have to be. The signs don't own the cards. They just lend their characteristics. So remember that. But I kind of feel for you guys, this is about finding a new star, going for it. What's your dream? What's your wish? The star, it's the major arcana version of the Nine of Cups. So the Nine of Cups is the wish card, your heart's desire. And this kind of amplifies that. The minor arcana, like the Nine of Cups, etc., that's more our day-to-day. I always see that as, how we experience life day-to-day. Whereas major arcana energy, and you have a couple here, beautiful cards you have, major arcana, this is in the direction of our life. So I get it, guys. I get it. And some of you can see that. You can see that there's a point to what you've just been through. You might not be loving it. You don't have to love it. We're human beings. We're here to experience the whole spectrum of human emotions. And you're tired and you're exhausted and you've been at this and you've been alone shouldering this burden. Even if everyone else has been doing it, only we know the burden that we carry ourselves, right? But out of this, there is something to be hopeful for. Now, the kind of downside of the star, and every card has a downside, right? The downside of the star is that we can look at the star and think it's too far away. I want that star. I know that's my guiding star, but it's too far away. It's too difficult to get there, especially if you're carrying this. So that would be the first thing to drop, to get rid of, or to kind of deal with this, whatever this burden is. For some, it's going to be, what is a burden? Financial burden. Maybe you're having to pay all the bills. You're doing all the work. You're taking care of the home, the family, the whatever. Or you just don't have time to do anything, all the things that you want to do. There's too much on your plate. There's a very kind of freeing, liberating, healing energy that comes in with the star. It's just about going in a totally different direction. Some people might be shocked by that. Because what kind of comes out of this, that star energy, once you find your guiding star, that's your true north with the star. You find what is yours and you follow that. This is going to take me to where I want to be. Then we have the King of Swords coming up as a future energy now. Like I said, that's air energy, but it could be anyone who's kind of logical, emotionally detached. And I think that's you. I think that's you. I think this is where you communicate. You lay down the law, basically, as the King of Swords. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not defending. I'm not dealing with all of this crap. This is how it goes. And that's when that sword comes down, it cuts out all the crap. Very few people can actually, I don't think anyone can really argue with the King of Swords. That's why he's the king. He has mastery over his suit. Swords are all about our thoughts, our beliefs, our ideas, and how we communicate them. And there's no one that can communicate like the King of Swords. And he's honest. He's honest. He doesn't lie. His word is his oath. He stands by what it is that he says. But there's just a feeling of, I am done with this crap. I had a dream here. I saw potential here. Somehow it turned into this, but I'm getting back on track. I'm following my star. I'm going to where I know I want to be, towards wish fulfillment. But there's a conversation that needs to be had here. Now, Leo just got the King of Swords. And I was saying that if we're talking about, if it's not you, if we're looking at kind of careers, this can be a lawyer. This can be an advisor. This is a consultant. This could be someone who comes in and advises you on how to deal with it. So you can pursue your happiness, pursue what it is that you want. But have a look at what comes up as your advice. We have the Three of Pentacles here. And the Three of Pentacles, it is about, that's the kind of thing here. This card talks about working together. It's about sometimes compromise because everyone brings something different to the table. And we have to kind of find out a way to make it work together. But this is also recognition. That's why I get this whole kind of the rising star and, you being noticed, the spotlight. The spotlight was there, but I don't think you were noticed until now, until this week. And this is about recognition at work as well. It doesn't have to be that. The other way that you can look at this, and I've been waxing lyrical about these all over the place, is have a look at the 3 different people. They all represent like the mind, the body, and the spirit. The mind here is the guy with the plans, right? This is logical. This is what we're going to do. King of Swords kind of energy. Very logical energy. No emotions come into it. The body is this guy. That's the physical labor that we put in. He's physically doing the work, making the changes that they're telling him about. And then we always see this guy here. He looks like some kind of monk, or, some kind of, maybe he's from this cathedral that they're building. And that's the spirit for me. So it's using your mind, body, and spirit, your intuition, the logic, and then putting in the physical kind of action that's needed to do this, to be recognized. It's pulling all 3 together, making them work together to get to achieve what you want to achieve. This is about planning for the future. Planning for the future. Now, I want to say this. This is whack-a-mole. How can you plan for the future? How can you progress? How can you find a new route? How can you do anything if all you're doing is whatever happens, you're just putting out fires all over the place? Dealing with this. Okay, this needs to be repaired. All right, I need to do that. Okay, well, I have to get to work and do this. I have to do that. That's what this is. And you're just reacting to each thing as it comes. And I think this week feels like a welcome relief in that you can now find a pathway to go. When we're in defensive mode, when we're braced for impact all the time, how can we send out energy? We can't. We're defending ourselves against what's coming in at us. And this feels like a flip. There's a flip here. And this is about you speaking your truth, Virgo. Maybe this is where you say, this doesn't work for me, or, something needs to be done here. But I feel like you have a plan with it. Typical Virgo style, right? You're not just going to go in and complain. You're going to go in, say what's wrong, and then you've got a solution as well. Now, what sits above the 3 of Pentacles as you're planning for the future? The sun. The sun. You haven't given up on this. Whatever this dream was, whatever that path was that you saw towards happiness, towards fulfillment, right? That's what is kind you still want that. You've not given up on this dream, which is amazing. You see a new path to it. I see that. A new path to what it is that you want to go. And, you might come into it this week. And this is going to go up later on today. This is Monday that I'm recording this. You might come in, look at this and think, I can't even imagine any of this happening. All I can see right now is this. But you can't see anything right now because you've got 10 wands. That burden is there. This is the week where there's a solution to this and you can go forward. You can think up new ideas. You can do all of that kind of stuff. You can come up with a plan for the future. Because right now, like I said, all you're doing is defending. And that is no way to live. That is exhausting. And yeah, it zaps you of hope and energy when you're stuck in this.